ya arrancamos. Le vamos a dar la bienvenida a Adam Draper, founder y MD de Boost Venture Capital, y nuestro host Ignacio Plaza, co-founder and MP de Draper Cygnus. Bienvenido.
Hola, hola, muchas gracias. Bueno, tengan piedad que es mi primera vez de entrevistador.
Con un aplauso entonces, con más razón.
Ok. Okay.
Adam Draper va a estar desde la virtualidad.
Wow. Are you there?
Hello.
Ahí está.
How are you? Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to this fireside chat. Today we have Adam. He's a true luminary, not Illuminati, luminary of the venture capital industry. He's an entrepreneur. He runs Boost VC with almost 400 investments already. It's a lot.
400. But
no,
yeah.
400. That's what you tweeted. 380. You tweeted something like
True.
yeah.
It's very close to 400.
Yeah, close to 400. Yeah. So he's a fourth generation venture capitalist, and Adam here. I know if you see the people, hundreds of people. We are in Córdoba. It's the heart of Argentina. It's a place with 450 years of history. It's a hub for technology, for industry, for innovation, for universities, and it's also a place where many revolutions or several revolutions started here in Argentina. So it's very interesting. And we have.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
So awesome. Yeah.
It's awesome to have you here, Adam. And I want to thank you for joining us so early. You listen, okay? Are you listening?
Yeah. And thank you for, hola. Hola.
Great, Adam. And
venture capital, I'm doing it all.
Yeah. So please, a welcome for Adam. An applause for Adam. Start.
Thank you.
So let's talk a little about the early days. I'm curious about when did you realize that you were part of a family of legendary venture capitalists, and did you plan to choose another career path, or you felt your destiny was to become a venture capitalist someday?
Can you hear me well?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I wanted to be a tennis player, and I did try. I went for it in between high school and college. And then I went to UCLA and I studied English, and then I started a company. And when I was starting that company, I started with a friend, and we were what we call a secondary market for private securities. We were the first in this group of secondary markets that came out called Expert Financial. And what I loved about that job of starting a business was you're willing something into existence. And I also loved there's no right answer. In school, everyone tells you there's a right or a wrong answer. And then when I was in the real world, all of a sudden it was just best answer wins with the tools you have on hand. And I loved that mentality. I loved the idea that, and I was very good at that, where in traditional school, I may not have been that great. And so how did I get into venture capital in general was I started a company first. However, my dad is a venture capitalist. My grandfather is a venture capitalist, and his dad was a venture capitalist. I also wrote a book called Breakfast with Pops that's a guide to venture capital based off of my conversations with my grandfather. So I'll try to get that over to everyone if you're interested.
Have the book here.
You have it right there?
Yeah, of course. And I wanted to ask you something about the book. I mean, I believe that this book is essential for venture capitalists. It's Wisdom was written jointly by Adam and his grandfather, Bill. And I wanted to ask you, you mentioned 5 words that are the essence of venture capital that are permanent features of the industry, and maybe you want to elaborate on that, or maybe tell us
Yeah,
what
I
this
would love to. First, let me I'll finish the last thing. I didn't know I wanted to be venture capitalist, but being a venture capitalist basically means championing human endeavor, or championing people who are building incredible things. And that's something I've done my whole life, whether I was being paid for it or not. And so I started to angel invest in a few companies. I ended up being fortunate enough. I ended up being the first investor in a company called Coinbase, another company called Amplitude that went public 2 years ago, another company called Benchling, Wave Mobile Money. In Argentina, in South America, we did Repio. It has been an enormous success for Boost, and we were able to get into crypto in general. So, and from there, I've always felt that cryptocurrency is a part of deep tech, and deep tech is really just all the most dynamic people who are solving the hardest problems. And so we've backed everything from jetpacks, so flying jetpacks, to crypto exchanges. Okay, on the book, the one thing that I want to highlight about the book, there are a lot of things I would love to talk to you about the book. I'd be happy to read the book to you. I wrote it. I feel very happy that I completed something. I think that one of the best pieces of wisdom that my grandfather has passed on to me, and sort of passed on to my dad, and is that it's completely a people business. And in our family, the thing that we really love are just encouraging people to be able to do what they would like to do and push whatever they would like to on the world. And sometimes we're good at helping them get there. So that was, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's people, trust, luck. It's an amazing, it's amazing business.
Okay, great, thank you. And I'm curious also about what was the most crazy out there pitch you received at Boost VC? You remember, because so crazy idea.
You want to know what there was a week where I was pitched 5 of the same wild thing, and we ended up investing in one of them. It was mining the moon for water. And it was very, very out there, but the thing that made it really memorable is the fact that I had 5 of the same pitch that week, all from SpaceX and like all starting from the same spot, which was really interesting. That was pretty interesting. I mean, there's always like crazy. Like I was once pitched it was a chamber. I remember this. I was actually with my dad, and I was looking at this pitch deck, and it was like it looked like a big cylinder that you were supposed to sleep in, and the only reason the cylinder existed was for better acoustics. You were supposed to sleep in a chamber that would give you better music. So that was a pretty crazy one from my perspective, because
sounds fun.
We've always had headphones, so that wasn't like I knew it wasn't novel at the time, but for better audio.
And I know you love superheroes and sci-fi, and I want to ask you a question. You know, you've been a supporter of Bitcoin. If Bitcoin were a superhero, how would you describe his superpowers? Or
freedom and trust. That's what we say in our family. you know, you could look at Boost VC and say, we invest in all the craziest things, sci-fi, deep tech, which are the places you want to invest for the best returns. And also, what I should also say is Boost VC's returns have a lot of our best performing companies have come from international. And it's because everyone overvalues sort of central Silicon Valley and undervalues the rest of the world. And so we have done incredibly well looking at founders all over the world. But what Bitcoin does is it gives you an alternative. So up until 10 years ago, your entire alternative to currency was just the banking system or cash. And what we did was we gave everyone an alternative financial system to empower themselves to say, it's a vote. It's a vote to say, I don't want to be a part of the central banking system. And it's become, I think, ever since the first time that Brian Armstrong from Coinbase said to me, at some point, the world will be on one financial infrastructure. It's been, we've learned an incredible amount, and it's gotten better and better. And so what I believe is it gives you the freedom of choice, which is an amazing superpower in itself. And a lot of people all over the world understand how powerful the ability to own your own assets is. And so that's what we as a Bitcoin ecosystem has been able to do.
Great, thank you. And well, two questions about events of this last week. One is the SEC against Coinbase. What is the relevance of this? What do you think of that? And the other is the launch of the new Apple device and the impact on the AR/VR industry. I know that's an industry you like a lot.
What a busy week. And I mean, also in venture capital, Sequoia Capital broke up into 3 parts. Like it was a wild, wild week of news. I think they wanted to get everything done before summer. My answer is anytime the government does something against the crypto ecosystem, it legitimizes the ecosystem. I remember when the price of Bitcoin was $10, it was $10 to $30. And FinCEN, who does money guidelines, released guidelines on the regulation of digital currencies. And the price skyrocketed. They went like over not that day, but over the next couple of weeks when people realized like, oh, this means it's real. And so every time the government does anything, it actually legitimizes that company in the space. Now, I personally think that this is an opinion, so I don't want to, push anything, but like, I don't think the SEC has any grounds to sue Coinbase when Coinbase has been trying to play by the rules the whole time, but Coinbase sued them first. And so I think they had to retaliate with something, but they couldn't sue with the same thing that Coinbase sued for. And so really this is like SEC saying, no, we've been doing our job. And it's, so that thing, I actually think it will be a hugely beneficial part of the ecosystem. I am fully always in support of Brian Armstrong from Coinbase. Yes, I was an early investor in Coinbase, and I've always believed that company is one of the most important companies in the entire world. But also, I think it's it may be the most important global decision made in my lifetime for currency. And so it's a very exciting time to pick a side. And I want to be on the good side of history, which generally we figure it out eventually.
Great. And regarding the Apple AR, the Vision Pro device, it's important or it's another device?
Okay, first up, this is, I've been in the virtual reality, AR, augmented reality ecosystem for 7 or 8 years now. I'm willing to admit that I was too early, but I'm also a little stubborn, and so we stayed for a very long time. And now it's hitting, and so I'm very thankful that we invested in all these amazing companies. What Apple does better than anyone else is normalize technology to the masses. And suddenly, by saying, hey, we're a $2 trillion company, and we believe that this headset is the next generation of all products, that is the biggest deal ever. And now it's not going to, it's not going to be released for 6 months to a year. And so, to be patient is a big piece of this. But it's going to get a lot of people up to speed on virtual reality and augmented reality. And it's also going to get tons of investors excited about it. So I've already invested in like 70 VR AR startups. So I feel pretty happy about it. But we've always loved that ecosystem. That ecosystem has been an amazing ecosystem to be a part of. And the entrepreneurs who were a part of it have really grown in experience. So, but yeah, that was a big deal. They're gonna spend a lot of money on this thing.
Fantastic. Thank you. Now, wrapping up, would like to ask for a little piece of advice for both, for one side, entrepreneurs. You mentioned in your book you are serving entrepreneurs and your LPs, your investors. So advice would be for entrepreneurs in the deep tech space in Argentina and Latam. And the other side is LPs. Do you think there is really an opportunity in deep tech, international deep tech, Latam deep tech? Your take on that? These two pieces of advice would be great.
Yes. The pieces of advice are, there's never been a better time to invest in deep tech or just the venture capital in general. In my career, sorry, I've only had my own experience. And the reason is that it's incredibly exciting time where there's the emergence of artificial intelligence, spatial computing, and cryptocurrency, as well as these governmental, huge, we're traveling to space, we're traveling to oceans, I think being a limited partner or a partner or a venture capitalist in this ecosystem, choose the mission you want to be a part of and be a part of it. Own a piece of history, because this is the most historic time to invest. I'm very fortunate to be around during this sort of change in the course of history. On advice, I still think, you want to find the best investors and invest in them. And I believe these guys are great. So invest in them. On entrepreneur advice, it's a battle against yourself. And there's no competition other than you, and it's an endurance race. So you just need to, you were put on this earth to build one thing, build that thing, and make it fun, and have more fun. People need to have more fun. The one thing I'm sad about is I'm not in person with you. So in order to make this more fun next time, I will be in person with you. So that would be my goal. My goal is to get in person with you. But that would be the core of it is hey, you have a chance. It's not, the founders who are thinking, oh, it's so hard right now. That's a tough mental space to be, because it's going to be hard for 10 years. Whether the market's good or bad, it's difficult to build a company. It's never an easy road. You get the wind at your back once every 3 years, by my estimate. People are really supportive of you once every 3 years. Other than that, everyone forgets about you. So that would be my thing, is like, make sure you're building what you're building for you. Make sure it's important to you and the world or your community. And then I would, and if you need venture capital, you know, come to Draper, Cygnus, or Boost VC.
Thank you, Adam. Great, you're good. Thank you for supporting us, for supporting this ecosystem. We take your promise that the next time you will be in person here.
Let's do it.
Well, an applause for Adam, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much. It was great to talk to you.
Thank you, Adam, if you're there in space somewhere. Gracias, Ignacio.
Un placer, gracias.